So we're here, we just pulled up at, well, we're looking for Minsden Chapel. We're in Hertfordshire. Apparently there's some sort of ghostly activity happening around here. Monks from the Middle Ages haunting these little woods. We just pulled up.
We took the route, the sat-nav route, and it brought us to nowhere.
We found a little car park. It says it's isolated, so we're going to have to go off road, but we're going to have a look across to see quite a creepy looking sign over there.
Fucking creepy AF.
So just before we get to location, Sam, discuss with me what your beliefs are in ghosts and what you think we might come across here.
See, my beliefs in ghosts are very contradictory because I like not to believe the horror stories.
Yeah.
But I do believe that.
When you say horror stories, what do you mean?
Just general like ghost stories, spirits, hauntings, all that shit. I do believe that I've seen my grandma, like ghost form, shortly after she died. In my dad's room, sitting on a chair. It was like 3 AM. I woke up out of nowhere, looked to my left, and I saw like the shape of my grandma. And it's like, usually, you know, with chairs and stuff, people say like, oh, it's clothes like piled up. There's literally no clothes or anything on that chair.
So that's quite interesting because so I don't have any firm belief. I've had a few weird experiences, but I don't have any firm belief in the paranormal or anything. This is why I kind of want to get into it with this series and these documentaries to really work out if there is something. I mean, we're not professional investigators, but we just want to see if we can work out, like, maybe there are weird experiences.
But who is? Because I think the sick thing about us is, right, we're open-minded, right? Yeah. But we just want to find out the truth.
I think it's a really interesting point about the nan stuff, because I saw my nan. My dad claimed that he saw his grandma. My brother seen my nan, but still, there's still no hard evidence that any of this stuff exists. And I always think that throughout history, there's so much like nearly evidence that isn't quite real. So everyone has their own personal opinions, but no one's come up with like concrete facts. Every picture that they ever have of ghosts is always disproved, and I just think we just want to know, like, what is out there, what's going on. So looking for directions, we've been trying to find the location.
And this place is horrible to try and find.
We just come across this picture here, which is a ghost picture that was taken in 1800s. Now we need to investigate that because we weren't even aware there was photographic evidence of some form of entity here. But we are gonna go and check it out. It's just filming.
I normally let Minnie off, but I'm not gonna do it.
I wouldn't do that. You might not get her back.
It's just scary, right? That out of all of this, right, this place has to be in that little bit of dark woods up there.
And it's like got a fence surrounding it.
Yeah,
like,
pretty much saying
nothing, and it's surrounded dark, dense fence.
Right,
and that's
if there's a keep out sign, what do we do?
Go in.
Yeah.
What if there's a beware sign?
Beware of the monk.
You go see it and let us know what happens.
Mate, it does just feel heavy when you walk in here though. Like, the atmosphere does change.
Oh my god, she's like literally pulling me up to the pool before.
Police.
Oh shit. Oh, look at Minnie.
She does not want to come in here.
No.
It's fucking horrible. It's horrible. If you stand where I'm standing now, it's horrible.
Oi, come here. What is this? Is that green? I'm not even shitting you. A white shadow thing just walked fucking past there. Bruv, I'm not even shitting you.
You're not playing with us?
Bruv. I'm not even fucking joking. Oi! I'm not even fucking joking. Yeah, but I'm not joking.
I trust that you're not joking. When we got here, it looked like it was just this wall, and it was kind of funny because we walked for 20 odd minutes. We thought it was just this wall, but actually, when you get closer, it's really unnerving because you realise that it's still very much in its shape, and there still is, even though it's ruins, it's still disconnecting you from the outside world, and we definitely felt that because out there it's light. It's light in both the sense of the air is light, but also it's light outside, and you get in here and it's darker and it's heavier. There's obviously that one solo grave there, which is quite unnerving, it's quite unsettling. But as you move through the ruin, down here there's a fire which has been frequently used. The bundle of sticks is quite terrifying because that is witchcraft, the used bundle of sticks. Satanism used bundle of sticks. Do not disturb those. because whatever that's there for, if you disturb that, I don't want to see the consequences. When we came in, Sam, you said you felt something or you saw something. I saw something also.
Well, literally as we walked up that bit there, like I said, I don't know if it's my mind playing tricks or whatever. I saw a white figure out of the blue just walk past, like,
But as you said that,
swiftly
you said
move past.
that, and then I saw a white figure almost move through this little hole here. But interesting, we did just look at that picture of the ghost of here, and that was a white figure, so maybe it's on our mind. But you saw it there, I saw it there, and then you saw it there. Right. That is terrifying. So I'll tell you the story of what this was. So this was a small village church. It was first mentioned in a Doomsday Book, that's like the 1200s. And by the 1500s, people didn't really come to it anymore. It's quite far away from the nearest local town's about 3 miles down the road. We had to walk 20 odd minutes to find it, so it's quite out of the way. In the 1600s and the 1660s, there were monks here that were treating Black Death victims. It's like the perfect location because you bring people up here that are highly contagious, they can't contain contagion. No one can get infected because they're nowhere near anybody. They treated them here, a lot of them died here. We saw one grave, there are probably countless others buried around here, maybe underneath. But the monk apparently still roams within these areas. People say that they see him walking through the bushes. They say they see him walking up invisible steps above here, and when he reaches there, there's a faint bell sound as if he's going to ring the bells. They would ring the bells to get people to bring the dead or come and collect the dead, to bury the dead. It's just very, very unsettling. Absolutely, you made a very good point of all of these trees here all have leaves and greenery on, and there, where he allegedly is seen to walk up the steps, there's nothing. It's just a barren
Literally,
tree.
no leaves, no bushes.
And this is the start of spring. That should have, it should have leaves on it.
Every other tree
Yeah.
has leaves on it.
If we work out, because we both grew up in the church. I mean, your dad is a vicar, so we know the general layouts of churches. And what is actually making me very, very uncomfortable right now is the fact that this area here, that's the entrance. This is the altar area. If people are having fires, that's laid out. Someone's laid out. That's laid out where the altar is. And that, for me, I watched up this stuff. That's like a sacrificial stone. I feel very, very uncomfortable being here. I think if we were to stay until darkness, I think that's probably a bad idea, because I think whoever's here at night is probably going to come back.
Kat has found something whilst we was in there. Kat was out here with the dog, who's crying her eyes out.
She doesn't like it at all.
Especially like when we got near kind of the grave bit. She was like pulling Kat away. But anyways, Kat?
So he was a solicitor and historian whose writings centred on the market town of Hertfordshire. He committed suicide in 1949 by jumping in front of a train at Hitchin railway station when facing disciplinary proceedings from the Law Society. And now he's there.
Why did they bury him there? Do we know why he was buried?
Yeah, why would they bury...
In 1907, he and two others, the Hitchin photographer Thomas William Latchmore and the noted artist and etcher, something Briggs, took a camera to this chapel with the intention of photographing the ghost of a monk who was believed to have been murdered there and whose spirit was said to emerge from the stone walls of the ruined chapel. Hine claimed that when they had been successful and published the resulting photograph in the history of the Hitchin,
Mate, well, you saw it through the wall, I saw it through a wall.
yeah,
Wait, keep going, because what...
yeah, but
Did
then
that lead to his suicide?
it then
Looking
says
into
it says that the photograph is now accepted as having been a practical joke at best and a hoax at worst, but Hine never admitted this, and in conclusion, in what was purported to be work of serious history is questionable. The shrouded figure is also almost certainly that of Hine. Hine frequently visited there and eventually obtained a lifeline lease of the building from the vicars of Hitchin. So fond of the chapel was he that he even bade trespassers and sacrilegious persons to take warning,
Maybe that's what we keep seeing.
I will proceed against them with the utmost rigour of the law, and after my death and burial I will endeavour in all ghostly ways to protect and haunt its hollow walls.
We should have looked out before we walked in.
Yeah.
So having come out of there, when I saw the bundle of sticks, I knew it was something to do with witchcraft. I just didn't know what it was, and I found this website. It's called the Witches Union. Even magic needs to be unionised, but it tells you that it's called a ritual bundle,
A bundle of what?
The bundle of 6 called a ritual bundle, and it's used as a fuel to fuel a ritual in which you're trying to contact a spirit, or
Like fuel a fire.
well, we saw a fire. I don't know if it's fuel a fire, whether because it wasn't in the fire. Maybe you use it to fan the flames, but they use them to try and get spirits' attention and bring spirits into the realm where they are, which makes it slightly more unsettling because that means I already said with the circle of rocks, it felt like it wasn't normal. So that's someone practicing some form of dark
because
magic.
like you said, those sticks were untouched in a bundle.
Yeah.
They weren't like the size that you'd need. They were longer than you'd need for an actual fire.
Yeah. So
They weren't fitting in that circle.
Yeah, exactly.
And it felt quite like a ceremony.
yeah, I think having come out of that and looked into that, and with the stone circle,
I mean, if you look around, this is literally like the most remote place you're going to be. So if you're going to do something like that, this is the perfect place.
when we went to Edinburgh, there was a stone circle that was placed in the middle of the room, and they said it was placed there when they were doing magic rituals because that creates a safe space, and as long as you don't step inside of the circle, you'll be fine. And the circle maintains the darkness. Someone is in there, and someone is doing witchcraft and rituals in that monastery and maybe we're lucky we didn't come yesterday. Because that has been recent,
Literally,
and that's what's happened.
That is within the last 24 hours.
It's easy to think that someone just living in there, but when you look at the evidence, the bundle of sticks, a circle of stones, someone's doing some form of magic ritual in there. So we just came out, and on our way down, we ran into 4 lads who were also just heading up there. They said they heard some strange stuff. They said they heard some creepy stories about it. 2 of them didn't believe, 2 of them didn't. They wanted to go and see for themselves. We stopped and we spoke to them. And it turns out one of them, his dad had written a lot of books about Minsden and about what's happening there. And also he had a really good story for us about an investigation that happened in the 70s. And he shared that with us, and we're going to show you his video now. What's your name?
Isa.
Isa, so you're from Hertfordshire?
I'm from Luton.
You're from Luton, okay. And so you know a lot about Minsden, where we've just been?
Yeah, my dad's wrote about it in about 3 of his books.
That's quite interesting because we've literally just come across each other. So there is obviously some sort of local legend. Have you got a story you could share with us about?
Yeah, one of my dad's old friends, quite a famous ghost hunter from the 70s, Peter Underwood. He came here in 1976 probably, and he did an overnight stay in a tent in the middle of the chapel. And he got woken up in the middle of the night by a sound that he couldn't discover what it was. And as he woke up, he looked up at the wall and he saw a glowing cross in blue light glowing on the wall.
Wow.
And he turned around, looked away, and when he looked back, he wasn't there anymore.
It's been 24 hours now since we did the investigation at Minsden, and we just have some reflections to share. Sam, what do you think was your highlight yesterday? Was there anything that stood out to you as being particularly weird?
I mean, I don't know if I'd call it a highlight, but definitely the fact of finding out the graveyard story and the background behind the guy who suicided. It makes sense to the kind of things we saw in terms of like the ghosts or whatever we want to call it.
Yeah.
It makes total sense, and it kind of gave it a real narrative as to the paranormal activities we spotted.
Absolutely. I think for me, the highlight was definitely coming across those guys that were going up, because I think not only does that show you that people are actually going up there, I think also the fact that we met that guy and we spoke to him, and he said about Peter Underwood, and when he said that, it did twig in my brain like a memory, and I remember now, he's like the Conjuring, Ed and Lorraine one. He's like the British version of them. Like, he's a really big parapsychologist, so for him to have gone there, it has to substantiate like the claims, hopefully, that there is stuff there. Minnie was being really weird.
So Minnie is the dog in the video.
Yeah, she's been very strange.
Like, I know her very well. She's my girlfriend's dog, and that was out of character.
Yeah.
She was just.
Yeah.
She's a very friendly, loving dog. She was out of her comfort zone as much as we were.
And talk about what Minnie did when we got home.
Right, so this is where it gets super creepy, right? We were watching. What were we watching? It was like we were watching the footage back, right? She was fine in the early parts when we were watching like the kind of drive up and bits before we were actually in the chapel.
Yeah.
When it got to the chapel, she ran straight to the TV, started barking.
Yeah.
Then ran out the room, ran back to look at the TV kind of sheepishly. Yeah. And then ran back out and wouldn't come back in.
We were terrified. We thought someone was in the house.
Yeah.
Had to check the door.
Legit, it was creepy as anything.
And then we all had restless nights last night. We all were
Yeah.
definitely a bit scared. But you had something else
Well,
happen.
the thing is, you're going to be scared naturally after a night like that. Like, you've just been to a creepy place, you've heard horror stories.
Yeah.
It's like watching a horror film. You can't really sleep normally after. The bit that creeped Kat and I out the most, right? And I played it down last night because I didn't want to believe it. But anyways, I put my phone and glasses on like the ledge of the bed, and it's like there's enough of a ledge for it not to fall. Right? Nothing ever falls off the bed. Like there's no reason to. For some reason, I put it down, and it literally out of nowhere, when we turn the TV off and everything's going to sleep, it falls and hits me. I shat it like anything. Banged on the TV just to have a bit of light.
Yeah.
But like I said, there's actually no reason for that to happen.
What terrified me the most is that this is our first investigation, and I don't think it could have gone much better for us. But I think when we walked in, we thought, oh, you know, there's some homeless people living here. But then once we connected those dots, and I found something online. I'm on this website. It's called UK Decay, and I've been looking into Minsden. And I'm going to share this paragraph with you now about other people that have gone to visit. So this paragraph says, ghost hunters and other paranormal investigators have since descended with reports of glowing crosses on the walls, which is what that gentleman said.
Wow.
The tolling of church bells that were stolen around sometime in 1725, a murdered nun who haunts the area, strange animal reactions,
No!
the ghost of a small child, and secret tunnels that lead to who knows where. In addition to this, it is whispered that there are indeed occult rituals practiced there in the still of night. Mate, we stumbled on some bad stuff, and I took a stone from that stone circle. There's no episode 2 of Project X. We hope you guys enjoyed this video and this investigation. Plenty more to come. Please do keep your eyes on our channel.
Subscribe, because we deserve it after. This is only episode 1.
I don't have long left.
Yeah, this is only episode 1. We might not get an episode 2 at this rate. So like and subscribe now.
Yeah, keep your eyes peeled.
And look, if you know of anything creepy, comment it down below.
Yeah,
we'll check it out.
Yeah.
I'm not touching your hand ever again, mate.
How about my face?